Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon tank, and today we're going to mess around with the lighting a little bit. Right now the way the lighting is set up is there is a 4-foot shop lamp centered in the middle of the tank. The tank is 6 feet long, and that leaves me with 1 foot on either end. And right now I've got little just aluminum dome reflectors, little clamp lights, and in them I have compact fluorescents. And I'm in the process of switching over everything to LED eventually in this room. And I bought a 4-pack of what I thought were LED floodlights that turned out to be LED spotlights. And they've got a very narrow angled beam. I put some of these on another one of my tanks. I don't know how brightly lit the room is, whether that's showing up or not. So that's all it is a little indoor-outdoor water-resistant floodlight. It's 14 watts. It actually draws about less than half of that. It only draws about 5 or 6 watts. So we're going to go ahead and install these just kind of for fun, and we're going to put them on either end of the tank. You can kind of see where there's more brightly lit spots on either end. That's where the clamp lights are, the globes are. And the CFLs that are in there give that sort of even spread of light. You can see sort of a bright central location, but the light that comes out of them spreads fairly evenly. I think we're going to see something very dramatically different when we switch them over to these LED spotlights. And then of course, as I said, that'll just be for fun. And then ultimately I have a different type of LED that we're going to put in there for the end of this video, and I suspect that that's how we're going to leave the tank when we're all said and done. So sit tight, let me get these installed, and we will have a look at this before. And there's your after. So it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look natural either. I did this sort of same experiment with my 125 gallon native tank, and what I wound up doing in the end with that one was sort of sliding the shop light to one end and then having both spotlights at the other end. So again, it doesn't look really natural necessarily, but it does give somewhat of a sunlight shining down into the tank sort of feel to it. This tank is not going to look like that, and again, as I said, this was only going to be for fun. We were just going to try to get a look at what those spotlights actually look like on this tank versus the CFL. So if you're wondering what I mean when I say CFL, a compact fluorescent, turn the overhead on here for a moment, that's one example of a compact fluorescent. A compact fluorescent is any kind of fluorescent tube that has the ballast built in. The ballast is actually in this little area right here, and then it screws into a standard socket. It doesn't need the pins and plugs like you would typically get with a fluorescent. So when they say compact fluorescent, it might have the you know, the lengthwise going up and down rather than the coil or the curlicue. Sometimes these are called pigtails, but any fluorescent that screws into a standard socket is considered a compact fluorescent. So what we're going to put in now is actually one of these little LEDs that looks more like a standard light bulb. So that is 11 watts. It is 5000 K. It only operates on about 5 watts. Looks pretty much like a standard light bulb, and it is really, really bright. Lumens are not the only way you can judge a light by how effective it's going to be as far as shining on your plants and what it's going to do for the health of your plants, or how it's going to appear or look as far as color temperature goes. But what lumens does tell us is how bright the light will appear to our eyeballs. And this little light is 1100 lumens, so that's really, really bright. Those little compact fluorescents I had in there were probably closer to 700 lumens, and I don't really know what the spotlights in there would be considered from a lumens point of view, but just by nature of the way the spotlight shines in a directional way rather than just illuminating the area, I don't think that really is going to matter too much in any case. So now we're going to switch over from these spotlights. We are going to switch over to these little LED bulbs that we just looked at. So consider this one your before, and there's your after. So ultimately it looks a lot like it did originally with the compact fluorescence in there, which is what I wanted. I didn't want that spotlight effect. I wanted more of a diffused, even spread of light, and that's what we've got with these bulbs. I really like these bulbs. I actually have them in quite a few, I say bulbs, these LEDs that basically look like a regular bulb. Even if you just see it in the overhead fixture and you glance up and see it, you know, in the ceiling in the basement, it just looks like a standard light bulb, but they're really, really bright, and they only burn about 5 watts. Even if they actually use as many as they say on the package, they only use 11 watts. Most LEDs don't use what they're actually listed as. It's capable of running 11 watts, but it probably doesn't actually draw that many when you turn the switch on. It probably only draws half or less than what it's rated at. So again, even if it's full wattage, those are 11 watt bulbs, whereas those little compact fluorescents I took off of there, as small as they are and as energy efficient as they are, those were still 26 watt tubes or compact fluorescents. So I went from 26 down to 11, and it's probably more realistically like from, say, 24 down to about 5. So the wattage on this tank went way down with these two tubes. The shop lamp in the middle is an LED shop lamp, so that is rated at 40 watts. It's probably not actually drawing 40 watts. We'll say it's maybe drawing about 25. And then I've got 2 more of these little LEDs that we just saw drawing maybe 4, 5, 6 watts a piece, somewhere in that neighborhood. So this whole tank, believe it or not, you know, if we even go by what everything is completely rated for, we're only looking at 60 couple watts. And again, I really seriously doubt if I put a meter on it, we would actually be drawing anywhere near 60 full watts. So that's a lot of light on this tank for very low wattage. And when you've got as many tanks as I do and you've got them all lit up, you know, switching everything over what I started at with my high output T5s and a bunch of T8 tubes, you know, the T8 shop lamp fixtures that I had on a lot of my tanks, it's worth it to slowly convert everything over to these really, really high efficiency LEDs. And I've been really happy with these low budget shop lights. I've seen them on Amazon. The price has gone up and up and up. I got mine at the Wally World for like $38 for the shop lamp. The bulbs I just showed you, these, I will put a link below. I got these on Amazon too. I got these in a 6-pack. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it works out that it's about $5 or $6 per bulb, which again is not necessarily cheap. But when you consider the benefits of it and the fact that it'll be 10 or 15 years before you need to replace it, the brightness, the amount of light you get for the amount of energy you're using, etc., to me it's just completely worth it. So I've been looking forward to getting this tank switched over fully over to LEDs for a long time, and now that it finally is, I'm quite happy. So I've got to get on with it. I got a bunch of stuff I need to get done in the fish room this evening. Make sure you're subscribed. I am also tinkering around with the lighting on my brackish tank. I'm going to be changing that over all to LEDs as well. I'm hoping the stuff that I'm waiting for shows up tomorrow. Some of it got here today. The rest of it's supposed to be here tomorrow. Once I get it, I'll be able to start tinkering. So within a few days of that, we should be seeing some more video about lighting and aquarium lighting with my brackish tank. And I'll be switching that over from a combination of the T5s and the fluorescent T8s fully over to LEDs as well, so you don't want to miss any of that. And of course, like as I said, if you're subscribed, you won't. So don't forget, this tank here is my 125-gallon African theme tank. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you real soon on the next one.